It's something you may have known all along. Simple, yes, but its power? Truly remarkable. 5 dangerous combinations of medications and foods to avoid at supper. Before you take your next bite at supper tonight, I need you to hear this. In just a few minutes, I'm going to share 5 dangerous combinations of medications and foods that can quietly harm your health, sometimes in ways you might never suspect. These aren't just rare or exotic risks. They're things that can happen right at your own dinner table, with foods you've been eating for years and medicines you take every day. If you watch until the very end, I'll reveal one powerful, little-known method to avoid these risks completely. You might already know it. It might even seem basic, but the results are out of this world. And here's what makes this so urgent. As we get older, our bodies change. The way we process medications changes. Something that felt harmless in our 40s might quietly be causing serious trouble in our 70s. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you protect your health, your independence, and your peace of mind. So pull up a chair, pour yourself a cup of tea, and let's talk about what could be putting your health at risk starting tonight. Because the dinner plate you set in front of you could be doing a lot more than just filling your stomach. Let's start with the combination that surprises almost everyone: certain blood pressure medications and high potassium foods. Now, before you think, oh, I don't eat anything unusual, let's talk about what I mean. High potassium foods aren't just bananas. They include oranges, tomatoes, spinach, potatoes, even some salt substitutes. Many blood pressure medications, especially ACE inhibitors and certain diuretics, can cause your body to hold on to potassium. That means if you load up on potassium-rich foods at supper, your blood potassium levels can spike. And that's not just a number on a blood test. Too much potassium can cause muscle weakness, irregular heartbeats, or even dangerous heart rhythm problems. What makes this tricky is that high potassium foods are often considered healthy. Doctors tell us to eat our fruits and vegetables, and for the most part, that's true. But when you mix them with certain medications, what's normally healthy can turn risky. The good news is, you don't have to avoid these foods completely. You just need to know your limits and spread them out through the day. Later in this video, I'll share exactly how to balance them safely. But first, we've got 4 more combinations to go through, and number 3 is one I guarantee you've seen on your dinner table this week. The next one is a classic trap, and I've seen it catch so many good people off guard. Cholesterol-lowering medications, especially statins, combined with grapefruit or grapefruit juice. Now, you might be thinking, come on, how bad can grapefruit really be? Here's the problem. Grapefruit interferes with the enzymes in your liver that process statins. This means the medication stays in your body longer and at higher levels than intended. That sounds harmless until you realize this can lead to severe muscle pain, liver damage, or even rare cases of life-threatening muscle breakdown. And it's not just the whole fruit. Grapefruit juice, frozen concentrate, and even marmalade made with grapefruit can have the same effect. The tricky part is the reaction can happen even if you eat grapefruit in the morning and take your medicine at night. That's because grapefruit can affect the way your body handles the drug for up to 72 hours. So if you're taking statins, the safest bet is to switch to another citrus fruit like oranges or tangerines. They give you that bright, tangy flavor without the dangerous interaction. Keep listening because the next combination involves one of America's favorite comfort drinks, and for some, it's hiding in plain sight right beside their evening pillbox. Number 2 is a combination that many people think is harmless, but it can quietly put your health at risk. Blood pressure medications known as calcium channel blockers and foods or drinks high in sodium. Calcium channel blockers like amlodipine or diltiazem help relax your blood vessels, making it easier for your heart to pump.
But when you consume a high-sodium meal, especially at supper, you can undo much of the medication's benefit. Excess sodium causes your body to hold onto water, which raises your blood pressure and makes your heart work harder. Here's the tricky part. It's not just the salt you sprinkle from a shaker. Canned soups, frozen dinners, sauces, and even bread can pack in surprising amounts of sodium. For older adults, our taste buds sometimes fade a bit, so we add more salt without even realizing how much we're using. Over time, that extra sodium can cause swelling in the ankles, shortness of breath, and even lead to heart failure if left unchecked. The good news? You don't have to eat bland food. There are plenty of herbs and spices that can give you flavor without the sodium load. Later, I'll share my favorite simple seasoning trick that still gives your food a rich taste without pushing your blood pressure back up. Number 3 might break some hearts because it involves coffee, tea, and certain thyroid medications, especially levothyroxine. Here's what happens. If you take your thyroid pill and then have coffee or tea within an hour, you can drastically reduce the absorption of the medication. That means your thyroid hormone levels might stay low even if you're faithfully taking your medicine every day. Over time, that can leave you feeling tired, sluggish, forgetful, and even lead to more serious complications. The same goes for iron supplements and calcium. Both can block thyroid medication if taken too close together. Now, I know for many of us, a hot cup of coffee or tea is a beloved morning or evening ritual. I'm not telling you to give it up completely, but I am telling you to separate it from your thyroid medicine by at least an hour, preferably more. That one small change can make your medication far more effective. Later on, I'll share a simple way to set up your daily schedule so you don't even have to think about these timing issues. But first, we need to talk about a combination that can quietly make your blood pressure spike without you even realizing it, especially dangerous if you take certain antidepressants.
This one is sneaky. Certain antidepressants, especially MAOIs, and foods high in tyramine. Tyramine is found in aged cheeses, cured meats, pickled foods, soy sauce, and even some beers and wines. When you mix high tyramine foods with MAOIs, your blood pressure can skyrocket, sometimes to dangerous, life-threatening levels. It can happen fast, and it often catches people completely off guard because the foods themselves don't seem dangerous. Imagine sitting down to a nice charcuterie board with cheese, salami, and a glass of red wine. Sounds like a pleasant evening, right? But if you're on the wrong medication, that combination could send you to the emergency room. The key here is awareness. If you're prescribed an MAOI, your doctor should give you a full list of foods to avoid. But in my experience, people sometimes forget or think, just a little bit won't hurt. Unfortunately, with tyramine and MAOIs, even a little bit can cause a big problem. The good news is most modern antidepressants don't carry this risk. But if you're on one that does, it's worth having a printed list on your fridge. Coming up next is a combination that's so common at supper time. I'll bet at least half of you watching have done it in the past month without even realizing. All right, number 5, and it's one that hits close to home for many. Blood-thinning medications like warfarin and foods high in vitamin K, such as spinach, kale, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. Now, here's the twist. Vitamin K isn't bad for you. It's actually essential for health. But when you take warfarin, vitamin K can reduce its effectiveness, which means your blood may clot more easily than your doctor intends. That's a problem if you're taking a blood thinner to prevent strokes or heart attacks. The real danger is sudden changes. If you eat very little vitamin K most days and then suddenly have a big spinach salad for supper, your INR levels can swing dramatically.
Consistency is the key. If you love your greens, you don't have to give them up. Just eat roughly the same amount each day so your medication dose can be adjusted to match. Later, I'll show you exactly how to plan your meals so you can keep enjoying your favorite veggies without risking your health. But before we go deeper, if you've been watching up to this point, type 1 in the comments below. It lets me know you're here, you care about your health, and you're ready for the next set of life-saving tips. Now that we've covered the 5 big ones, I want to let you in on something important. These aren't the only dangerous combinations out there. In fact, there are dozens more, and some of them are hiding in plain sight. For example, certain antibiotics can react badly with dairy products, making the medicine less effective. Or acid reflux drugs that, when taken with certain fruits, can actually change the way your stomach absorbs nutrients. That's why if you're taking any medication at all, prescription or over-the-counter, it's worth doing a quick check with your pharmacist before making any big changes to your diet. And I'm not just talking about avoiding rare foods or strange herbs. Sometimes it's everyday items like milk, yogurt, or even your favorite herbal tea. Remember, our bodies change as we age. What worked fine for you at 40 might be a real risk at 70 or 80. So don't assume you're safe just because you've always done it this way. In a moment, we're going to dive deeper into the one thing most people overlook when it comes to avoiding these food and drug traps. And trust me, this one can save you from a lot of trouble. Before we move into the next set of tips, I want to make this practical for you. The easiest way to protect yourself is to keep a simple, written list of your current medications, including over-the-counter ones and supplements. Then, right beside each one, write down any known food interactions. You don't have to memorize them. Just keep that list somewhere you can see it, like on the fridge or inside a kitchen cabinet. That way, before you prepare supper, you can do a quick glance to make sure you're not about to accidentally mix the wrong things. I know some people like to keep everything digital on their phone, but for those of us who spend more time in the kitchen than glued to a screen, a printed list can be a real lifesaver. You might think, oh, I'll remember, but trust me, when you're tired, hungry, or have guests over, it's easy to forget and slip into old habits. And here's a bonus. When you go to the doctor, you can bring that list with you, and they'll instantly see the whole picture. Now, in a moment, I'm going to give you the golden rule for checking food and drug interactions. But first, let's talk about one more common trap people fall into during supper time. The golden rule is this: treat every new food or supplement like you would a new medication. Check for interactions before you try it. I can't tell you how many people say, oh, it's natural, so it must be safe, only to end up in trouble. Natural doesn't always mean harmless. Grapefruit is natural. Tyramine in cheese is natural. The problem isn't that they're bad, it's how they mix with the medicine already in your system. Before you try a new tea, a new multivitamin, or even change your supper routine, take 5 minutes to either read the information sheet from your pharmacy or look it up from a trusted medical source online. Even better, ask your pharmacist. They're often more accessible than your doctor and can give you quick, accurate answers. This habit alone can prevent a huge portion of the dangerous interactions we've talked about today. But before I show you how to make this process incredibly easy to follow, I want to share a few real-life examples of how these small changes have made a big difference in people's lives.
Let me tell you about Mary, a 74-year-old from Ohio who was constantly feeling weak and dizzy. She thought it was just old age. But after a quick review with her pharmacist, she learned she had been taking her blood pressure medicine with a big glass of orange juice every night, leading to dangerously high potassium levels. Within a week of changing her routine, her symptoms started to improve. Then there's Robert, 68, who struggled with fatigue for years because he took his thyroid medication alongside his morning coffee. He never made the connection until someone mentioned it in a health seminar. He started waiting an hour between the pill and the coffee, and suddenly he felt like a new man. These aren't rare, one in a million stories. They happen all the time. And I want you to know, if they could make these changes and feel better, so can you. In just a minute, I'll share the easiest way to track your medications and food habits without it feeling overwhelming. Here's my favorite method for keeping track: the supper and schedule chart. It's simple. You make 2 columns. On the left, write your usual supper foods. On the right, write the medications you take in the evening. Then draw lines connecting any items that might be risky together. You can make this chart with a pen and paper, or if you like using technology, there are free templates you can download and print. Once you see the connections on paper, it becomes much easier to remember which combinations to avoid. Plus, it's a great visual tool to show your doctor or pharmacist. They can spot risks at a glance. This chart also helps you notice patterns, like maybe you eat spinach twice a week, so your warfarin dose might need to be consistent with that. Or maybe you drink tea every night, so you'll see if it overlaps with thyroid medication. Tracking isn't about making life harder. It's about making safety automatic. Now, in a moment, we'll take things a step further with the best way to actually enjoy your favorite foods without giving up safety. If you've made it this far, it means you care deeply about protecting your health and making smart choices, and I admire that. So here's what I'd like you to do right now. Type 2 in the comments below if you're committed to making at least one positive change after watching this video. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone you care about. Because the truth is, most people out there have no idea how dangerous some of these food and medication combinations can be. And you could be the reason they avoid a serious health scare. Plus, when you subscribe, you'll get my future health tips right away, so you'll always stay one step ahead. Now, coming up is my favorite part: how to keep enjoying the foods you love while avoiding the risks we've been talking about. Yes, it's possible, and no, it's not about eating boring, flavorless meals. The secret to enjoying your favorite foods safely is balance and timing. You don't have to completely cut out potassium-rich foods if you're on certain blood pressure meds. You just have to space them out so you're not overloading your body all at once. Love grapefruit? You may need to skip it entirely if you're on statins, but you can swap in oranges, tangerines, or berries for that same refreshing burst. Crave coffee with your thyroid medicine? Simply move it to an hour later. Each of these changes is small, but together they add up to huge benefits. And here's something encouraging. Once you make these adjustments a habit, you won't even think about them anymore. They'll just be part of your daily rhythm, like brushing your teeth. In a moment, I'll share the single most effective method I know for completely eliminating dangerous food medication combinations from your life. This is the tip that could save you from hospital visits, unexpected symptoms, and a lot of worry. Before we get to that final method, I want to address a common mistake: assuming that your doctor will automatically catch every possible interaction. Doctors do their best, but
they're human, and they often focus on prescribing the right medication rather than cross-checking every single food possibility. That's why it's so important for you to take an active role in your own care. And no, it's not about memorizing hundreds of rules. It's about knowing the few that matter most for your medications. This makes you a partner in your health, not just a patient. You'll be able to say, I'm on warfarin, so I eat the same amount of greens each day, or I take my thyroid pill an hour before my coffee. Those small statements tell your healthcare team you're serious about managing your health. Now, let's move into the method that ties all of this together and makes it effortless to follow. Special method. Here it is, the most effective method I've ever taught for avoiding dangerous food medication combinations, the 3-check system. Step 1, check before. Before you eat or drink anything new, ask yourself, does this interact with my medication? If you're unsure, pause and check with a pharmacist or a reputable source. Step 2, check during. While you're preparing a meal, glance at your list or chart to make sure you're not putting risky foods on your plate at the same time as certain meds. Step 3, check after. If you notice new symptoms like unusual fatigue, dizziness, or stomach upset, look back at what you ate and the medications you took. This helps you spot patterns and make adjustments quickly. The beauty of the 3-check system is that it becomes second nature within a few weeks. You won't need to think about it forever, just enough to build the habit. And once it's a habit, you'll be protecting yourself automatically, every single day.
So there you have it. 5 dangerous food and medication combinations to avoid at supper, plus a powerful system to keep you safe for life. Remember, you might already know some of this. It might even seem basic. But when you actually put it into practice, the results are out of this world. Better energy, fewer health scares, and more peace of mind. Your dinner table should be a place of nourishment and joy, not hidden danger. So keep your list handy, use the 3-check system, and never hesitate to ask questions about your medications. And before you go, type 2 in the comments if you're taking action today. Subscribe for more life-saving tips, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. You never know, the right information at the right time could save a life. Now, let's all go enjoy a safe, delicious supper tonight. Reassurance and emotional payoff. I know that was a lot of information, and if you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, that's perfectly normal. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with just one change. Maybe you decide, from now on, I'll wait an hour after my thyroid pill before I drink coffee. Or, I'll keep my vitamin K intake steady each day. Then, as that becomes part of your routine, you add another. Before long, you'll realize you're doing the entire 3-check system without even thinking about it. And with each small step, you'll feel more in control of your health. You'll notice more energy, fewer unexplained symptoms, and the comfort of knowing you're actively preventing serious problems. I've seen people in their 70s and 80s completely transform their health simply by making these small, consistent choices. You can too. Remember, health is not about perfection. It's about progress. And every smart choice you make today will pay you back tomorrow in ways you can't imagine. Future tease. So let's wrap this up with one final thought. You might already know some of what I've told you today. It might even seem basic. But the truth is, The results can be out of this world if you actually put them into practice. The simple act of avoiding dangerous food medication combinations can mean more years of independence, more dinners with family, and more mornings waking up feeling strong. If you're ready to take that step, type 2 in the comments right now, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with at least one friend or family member. Because this information could be the difference between a peaceful evening at home and a trip to the hospital. And here's your reason to stay tuned next time. We'll talk about the 7 daily habits that keep your brain sharp and your body strong well into your 80s and beyond. You won't want to miss it, because just like today's tips, they're simple, practical, and life-changing. Until then, here's to your health, your happiness, and your next safe, delicious supper.